Howdy friends and family, welcome to a Unit 7 pre-calculus math tutorial. And this video we will be covering how to get either sine, cosine, or tangent theta by itself and how to solve for it when it's in an equation such as this. So here we are, we're going to have some examples here. Just so you know, this stuff, it's not that hard, okay? So if you're having trouble with it, just take a moment, breathe, you're going to be alright. So, let's start with this first problem here. We have square root of 2 cosine theta plus 12 equals 11. Our objective here is to get cosine theta by itself. And to do that, our first step is going to need to be to subtract 12. Get it on this side. We're going to want our cosine theta. Oops, sorry, this is not focusing too well. We're going to want our cosine theta by itself, so we will be able to solve for it. So here we've got now square root of 2 cosine theta equals -1. That looks a little bit better, I guess. The next part to get cosine theta by itself is we're going to need to divide this square root of 2 on both sides. And here this will cancel out, giving us cosine theta. That's pretty good. But now on this side we got a -1 divided by our square root of 2. And here we normally do not want to keep our answer like this. We don't want to have a square root on the bottom. To get rid of that, we're going to take our -1 square root of -2, or just 2, pardon me, and we're going to multiply that by what is called a special one. And what's a way you can get one? You could have a number just over itself, basically. So here we're going to have our square root of 2 over square root of 2. That's going to be our special one. And that's basically just multiplying this number by 1, but we don't want this square root sign on the bottom. So when you multiply this, you're going to get negative square root of 2 over 2. As square root times itself, it's just going to give you its normal number. And here now we have cosine theta equals negative square root of 2 over 2. Looks better, but it's not our final answer. So here, we're going to need to go to our unit circle and find everywhere on the unit circle where in our, since cosine is equal to its x values, we're going to find everywhere it says negative square root of 2 over 2. And so here on our unit circle, pardon me, mine's a little bit marked up. So here on this unit circle, we can see that our negative square root of 2 over 2 is going to be at 3 pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. So those are going to be our answers for this one. So now we have cosine theta is equal to 3 pi over 4 as well as 5 pi over 4. There's a way you can check this in the calculator, but I won't go over that right now. Moving on to our next problem. Alright, here we've got 5 tangent theta plus 6 equals 11. Similar to our last problem, but looks a little bit different. Don't worry, it's going to be alright. So, and this tangent, it could be a sine or a cosine. It doesn't matter right now. It's going to matter once we get to the part where we're going to need our unit circle. So our first step is, again, going to be to move this -6 to the side with 11. So 11 minus 6, that's going to be 5, not 7. I made that mistake before. And so now we have 5 tangent theta equals 5. Not too bad. And you could probably look and recognize that our 5 tangent, we're going to divide that by 5. Oh, so sorry, this is not focusing. And we're going to divide it by 5 on each side. So here now we have tangent theta equals 1, as 5 divided by 5, that's 1. And now we're going to look at our lovely unit circle once again. And here, tangent is going to be equal to y divided by the x value. So we're going to have this value, say for example here, we've got our square root of 3 over 2, and then we're going to divide that by 1 over square root of 2. And I have all those written down here on the side. And for this one, we're going to look for where it's equal to 1. So look here, that would be pi over 4, and I believe we'll have another answer, which is going to be here. Yeah, so that's going to be a 1 right here, and that's going to be 5 pi over 4. So now our answer is going to be tangent theta is equal to, what should we just say? Pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. Not too hard. If you questioned how I got that, probably just go rewatch it again. Pretty simple. And again, there's a way you can check this in the calculator, but I won't be going over that in this video. Moving on to our third and final problem. Alright, this one looks a little bit more nasty. It is 2 sine squared theta minus sine theta minus 1 equals 0. In this case, if you're wondering what this means, that's basically going to be, so sine squared theta is just equal to sine theta squared. So in this case, it's actually really easy, even though it looks terrible and messy. So what we're going to basically do is treat sine theta as if it was x. So now our equation is going to be 2x squared minus x minus 1 equals 0. And look at that, you've got some basic algebra here. So now what we're going to do is let's use the box method. If you don't know what the box method is, it is a way that you can factor a problem such as this. And so our first step is going to be, well, what's 2 times negative 1? That's going to be negative 2. Yeah, but what's negative 2 times 2 numbers that we can get a negative 1? In this case, it would be negative 1x, and we're just going to use that negative 1. What can we multiply to get negative 2 but equal negative 1? In this case, it'll be negative 2 times 1. So if you take negative 2 and add a 1, look, there you go, negative 1. And that also multiplies to negative 2. And in this first box and in this last bottom corner one right here, we're going to put our 2x squared and just a negative 1. And here we're going to have some x's, and we're going to put our negative 2 and our 1 here. In this case, since it's just 1x, it'll just be x. And to factor this, we would look what these have in common. And here, what do we have in common? We just have an x here. That's what we have in common. In this, we would have a negative 1 that we would have in common. Pardon me. So one part of our factoring is going to be x minus 1. And then here, what does 2x squared and negative 2x have in common? Well, they've got a 2x. And then, what does negative 1 and x have in common? Just 1. In this case, it'll just be a positive 1, since that's the only thing they have in common. And so now we have 2x plus 1 equals 0. And from this, what we're going to do is we are basically going to re-put in that sign now for x. So for here, we're going to have sine theta equals, or minus 1 equals 0. And what we're going to have over here is 2 sine theta plus 1 equals 0. And let's start over here. So we're going to have a negative 1. We're just going to add this 1 to the other side. Boom. We got sine theta equals 1. And then we'll look at that on our unit circle, which sine is always going to be your y values. And so if we look at the unit circle here, it is going to be, so let me zoom that out. We've got sine theta equals 1. The only spot we're going to get that is going to be, I didn't need that other arrow. It's going to be at pi over 2. And then here, what we've got, that's the only place we'll get 1. And so if we look here, our y value, it's only going to be right there, which is going to be just our good old 1/2 pi, basically. So pi over 2. And then for this over here, what we're going to do is subtract our 1 again from both sides. And so now we have 2 sine theta equals -1. And again, to get rid of that 2, we're just going to divide it. And that's going to cancel out. So now we have sine theta equals -1/2. Again, we're going to go to that unit circle. This time I won't show you guys just because. In here, we've got our answer is going to be 7 pi over 6, as well as 11 pi over 6. And as I said, I won't show you that in the calculator, but in total, sine theta is going to be equal to pi over 2, 7 pi over 2, and 11 pi over 2. There we go, and that's going to be our answer. Though all 3 of those will be our answer. I hope that helped y'all, and thank you for watching. And I hope you luck on your next test or homework, whatever you have trouble in. Thank you for watching. Adios.